Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, presented by Yamaha.
We catch them in the Everglades National Park, but they're not this big.
And this is the time of year the large females show up just before they're getting ready to run down south.
Look at that, Fred! That's a pompano there, man!
It's early fall in northwest Florida, but you can't really tell because of this heavy fog. And if not for the courage of our fearless crew and a really good chart plotter, the Murphy's Law could be lost.
You know, Fred, I go to places all the time that I've never fished before, and certainly you can tell with this fog, it can be really challenging as to exactly where you are out here on the flats. The cool part about this Humminbird 998 is that I'm able, using the side imaging, to find those potholes that you would normally be looking for in the bright daylight.
Right.
And even though your GPS can get you close, you're not necessarily can be sure as to exactly where you are. But one of the things that I've noticed with this as we're idling out of the channel here is how well it marks the contours of the sandbars and the grass. Now if you see here, see this dark area here, Fred? The wider the transmission or what it's receiving, the more dense the bottom. So that would be indicated as sand. But if you see these black areas here, that's the grass flats. And it's real easy. Once you learn how to use the unit, it really makes it good for you. Fred.
Yes, sir.
There's a trout.
He took that topwater, didn't he?
Yes, sir. Let me turn my trolling motor off. I don't want to go any further. We'll put the talon down so we don't drift past our fishing while we're catching this one.
That's about the nicest invention they ever came out with.
These shallow water anchors, that talon is the bomb, man. It just telescopes straight out of the back. Now, you know, Fred, what's so cool about this fish, I've caught a lot of trout in Everglades National Park, but because our water is usually a lot more cloudy, we don't see trout this color.
The coloration is beautiful.
How orange or yellow his mouth is, but just his spots are so much more dominant. I love that. And listen, he's croaking. I mean, trout in the croaker family. Listen to him croaking. I hear you, bub. I know. Get that out of my head. It's giving me a headache.
I tell you, they've really gotten a lot of color with the fact that we've had so much rain. Their colors have really starting to pop out now.
Yeah, that tannic water makes them turn, and the fins get yellow.
The inside
spots
of his
become
mouth is
more
all
dominant.
bright yellow. It's beautiful.
And you know, Fred, these teeth here, they'll actually break off and grow new ones. Not like some other fish, you know. That's kind of a cool part about a trout. All right. Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, sea trout. Here we come. Cool, huh?
Get this out of your way.
There we go, Fred. Uh-oh.
Oh.
A little redfish.
Yeah, it is a little redfish.
A little redfish. You know, Fred, there's something about, you know, when it's overcast and you don't have the viz, there's just something about throwing a topwater plug like a skitter walk that creates this noise. You know, that's the only reason, you know, I've never fished here, but the reason why I chose fishing a skitter walk is because same thing, low light, nighttime fishing, same early morning, low light. I'm trying to just call something up, you know? That's that same principle of why people fish popping corks.
Exactly.
You know?
That's a favorite bait around here is a skitterball.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. It is a favorite bait.
Well, I tell you what, he ate this like he was serious about it. Look, I mean, it's gone. Oh, it was outside. I thought I couldn't see it underneath his chin. I thought it was down, it was down his mouth like a Snickers bar in a kid's mouth, you know? All right. Redfish. How you doing, Roll? Man, look at the girth on that fish. This is the kind that you'd want to catch in the tournament, but obviously a 27-inch model if you were fishing in a redfish tournament. Look how thick he is here. Well, you've been fooled by the chrome skitterwalk. Sorry that happened to you. There we go. That's what happens. He thought he was eating a mullet, and he got the treble hook surprise.
Hello, Rufus Townsend. I'm from Apalachicola. I've been shucking oysters here at Boss Oyster all my life. What makes the Apalachicola oysters here the best in the world is they're salty, they're good, and they go down very easy. When people come to Apalachicola, you can find old buildings. A lot of people's places have been restored, you know what I'm saying, to look like they used to look when it was first created. If you come to Apalachicola, the stop is Apalachicola Boss Oyster. It's the place to eat. They have the best oysters in the world. We have a group of boats here at Boss Oyster. They have their own boats. They send out and catch oysters, harvest every day. And they're fresh oysters for the community, whoever want to come in and eat. So wherever you are in the world, if you want the best oysters, come to Apalachicola.
Sportsman's Adventures is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Williamson for the Pelagic Playground. Maverick Boats. Fish the legend. Minn Kota. Anywhere, anytime. Humminbird. Simply, clearly better.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
For years, they've quietly taken you where the fish are. But now the silence is about to break. With the incredible new iPilot Link, your Minn Kota and Humminbird can communicate with each other. So you can hold on a spot like an electronic anchor. Record and return to waypoints and paths. Follow any Lake Master depth contour and more. All automatically and all from your Humminbird or the Link remote. They talk and you'll be speechless.
The revolution continues. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers that launched the Bayboat Revolution. Whether chasing world records or time on the water with your family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder. #1 for a reason, still.
You already know about the La Jolla Resort in Isla Mirada, so let's talk about the La Jolla experience. With an on-site boat ramp, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic is just minutes away. And when you return from fishing, there's barbecue pits to cook your catch while your family enjoys the pool or one of our new remodeled rooms. This historic resort, the La Jolla, is family owned and operated and has a friendly staff ready to make your La Jolla experience a really great one.
Our guide today is Captain Fred Erickson from Port St. Joe. This beautiful little North Florida town sits on a stretch of beachfront Highway 98 just minutes away from our home base in Mexico Beach. It's called the Constitution Town and definitely has that old Florida feel and charm. Whether it's fishing with your children or kayaking with your family, things here just revolve around a waterfront lifestyle. The thick Florida fog has burned off, and part 2 of our Mexico Beach Sportsman's Adventures is about to continue.
Trout. Throw behind me, bub. Throw behind me. He's right behind me. He just boiled on him again. Throw right there, Fred. There he is.
Nope.
Real Fred. Real Fred. Real Fred. Real Fred. Real Fred. Real, real, real. Real, real, real. Keep reeling, Fred. He's still behind me, Fred.
Really?
Real? Yep. See him?
Yep. Oh, hell.
Oh. Let me see what you got there, Fred. Oh, you found John D. John. Mr. Trout.
There he is. There had to be one out there somewhere that was going to eat this bait.
Now, Fred, tell me about the fishing here in the Mexico Beach, Port St. Joe area. I mean, is your inshore fishing, what about the species? What's the variety of?
I tell you, we've got more fish here than any place I've been. I mean, we've got speckled trout. Of course, speckled trout's the type of fish that you can catch all year long. In the winter months, they're going to gang up in the deeper potholes, but, you know, we've got trout, redfish, pompano, flounder. Everything just kind of comes in, but the speckled trout is one of these fish that stays here all the time, all year long. Depending upon the water temperature, you can catch them pretty much anywhere.
Now, the size of trout that you catch here,
this typically
12 inches, 10 inches on up?
Actually, in the earlier part of the spring, you're going to catch your big females, big spawners, you know, but they spawn a couple times during the year. But usually at the end of March, you know, in April, you're going to catch your big fish. You're going to catch 6-pound plus fish.
Wow.
Yeah. What was that?
I don't know. Looks like a bluefish.
It did look like a bluefish, and we've got some very large blues here.
Dang. He's pulling.
Now, that's a fish I like to smoke.
A bluefish?
Oh, yeah. Smoked bluefish is delicious.
We'll put the talon down so we don't keep drifting. You know, that's one of the things that I'm real stickler about. I think you probably have already seen that, Fred. I don't like drifting through the area while you're catching a fish, you know? Because it just is a continuation of you're not able to catch it or keep fishing. Oh, it's a big pompano. It's a big pompano, Fred.
Is it a pompano?
The big pompano. Or a creval, Jack Creval or a pompano. I think it is a pompano.
I tell you what, we've had a bunch of big pomps now.
Oh, it's a pompano, Fred. Look at this pompano.
Do we need a
Fred,
net?
this, what net? Anytime you ever had a net in a boat, you never had a need for it. So I don't carry one in this boat. I'd rather lose him at the boat side.
I tell you what, there's been some pompano. We've been running into some schools of pompano. Some of these fish are 5 to 6 pounds.
This fish is every bit of that. This could be the biggest pompano, or is it a permit? That could be the question.
That looks like a pompano.
Now, how do you know the difference, Fred? Do you know?
Honestly, I've never caught a permit.
So
I believe
could
our
be,
dorsal fin's a little bit longer, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. There is more bones on a permit than the pompano as the anal fins, but more importantly, I will show you right now
How do they eat? Do they eat as good as a pompano?
Yeah, especially when they're this size. This to me, looks like a little permit, but I assure you it is not.
No,
it is a pompano, a monster pompano. Dang, Fred, this is the biggest pompano I probably ever caught. Because we catch them in the Everglades National Park, but they're not this big.
Well, this is the time of year the large females show up just before they're getting ready to run down south.
Look at that, Fred! That's a pompano there, man. Captain Page right now would be going absolutely bat crazy. Chances are you spent a lot of time in the outdoors when you were growing up. Hours spent fishing, hunting, camping, hiking, or simply playing in the outdoors helped you get connected with nature. Sadly, today's children are disconnected from nature. They spend nearly 8 hours a day on their computers or watching TV, while the number of kids hunting and fishing continues to decline. And that's why the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, together with the Wildlife Foundation of Florida, created the FYCCN, the Florida Youth Conservation Center Network, to encourage kids to participate in the outdoors. A statewide network of conservation centers, the FYCCN features wild outdoor centers offering deep woods experience that connects to near outdoor sites in the communities where kids live. You can help kids learn to love the outdoors and become stewards of our precious outdoor heritage. You can help us create the next generation that cares. Go to fyccn.org to learn more.
Hold it right there. The Minn Kota Talon locks you onto a fishing spot with unmatched speed and stealth. And when Mother Nature tries to knock you off your mark, hit back with the strongest hold on the water. Talon, stand your ground.
Hi, I lost a big fish earlier today. Wasn't using suffix. It was about this big.
Look, slow down there, cowboy, okay? A fish in the lobster van, huh? You want your fish. Sorry, honey, that fish is gone.
Always use the best line, suffix 832.
Welcome to the inner circle. Rotating coverage up to 300 feet gives you a detailed 360-degree view of structure, contour changes, and fish. So you can see them before they see you. Introducing 360 imaging, only from Humminbird.
I got my first Yamaha in 1994, and I still use that outboard in the Bahamas today. This Yamaha 130 has over 2,000 hours on it, and it sometimes sits for 6 months. I can always depend on it starting and performing like it did when it was new. Everybody knows Yamaha stakes their reputation on reliability, and for me, that Yamaha 130 is living proof. So if you're considering a Yamaha, I can tell you that reliability and performance is something that you can count on for a long time.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Yeah, give me a little jump there, Daddy. I like it. That's how you welcome everybody
Man, he just engulfed that thing.
To the Panhandle. Yeah, he liked that taste of that Trigger X, I guess. Look, come on, give me another little head shake. That's our freshwater bass. I mean, that's the saltwater bass as far as the way they jump and engulf stuff, you know, Fred. They really are. They fight about the same too. So all you big bass guys that want to bust my chops all the time, my question to you guys is, why do those bass reels have drags?
Good.
That's a pretty trout.
It is a pretty trout. Nice thick body to him.
Yeah, man, real healthy. And I got to tell you, that's one of the things that FWC, in my opinion, has really done a good job of managing them. When we went to a 15-inch fish, Fred, I can remember cleaning 12-inch trout and 10-inch trout, and they had roe in them.
Buckets.
Yeah.
Buckets of them.
But then when we went to 12 inches, and then it went up to 14 inches, and now 15, only allowed to take 1 over 20.
Right.
But it really has made a huge, huge difference. Because
that's the true
if this
success
fish
story.
is mature enough to spawn at 10 or 12 inches, how many times does he spawn before we can actually harvest him at 15? 2 times, 3 times?
Oh, they'll spawn 2 or 3 times a year. Here.
So,
I mean, that's when proper management pays off.
Absolutely. That redfish, man, came out of that gully just like you said, Fred. Awesome.
There's been a good group of them in here.
Now, you know, if we were in a tournament, I would throw behind your fish and drag it over to see if he's got a friend. So let's see if that'll apply here in Mexico Beach. I do not see another fish with him, but sometimes, you know, they're not very far away.
And that's what was nice about fishing these waters here. Usually they're pretty clear and you can see these fish, sight fish them, and it's a whole lot of fun.
Beautiful fish. Now, Fred, redfish in Mexico Beach, St. Joe, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 pretty much?
Pretty much.
Just like we have down there in Everglades. Now, maybe the way you fish for them, you vary that way, meaning they're just deeper patterns during the winter, or I don't know. You know, I mean, I know what we do in the Glades is if we have the warmer side of a cold front, what would typically happen is these fish are going to move up to the shallows because the shallow is going to warm up a lot sooner. Now, certainly if it's the reverse of that, the colder side of the cold front, then what'll end up happening is they'll move to deeper water just because that's more of a consistent water temperature.
Do you find your redfish pretty much staying in the same size when you catch a small one?
Yeah, if this flat is, I mean, you might catch, look how fat he is. You might catch a fish that's, you know, this size, and his buddies, school fish are school fish, you know, and we took this out of a school. I believe this fish is a resident fish of this general zip code. You know, when you find singles, that's what it is. Those are fish that are living there, and they have a tendency to stay with the same size fish. And especially when I think it's this size, because these fish are not so prone to get big schools and school up to do the spawn, you know?
Right.
Because I don't think he's mature enough to do that yet.
No, we've got fish throughout the bay. You'll find this size. You find the big spawners. Usually the big spawners are on the other side of the bay, on the state park side. And then later in the fall, they get out on the buoy line out there in large schools.
Oh, there we go, Fred. That was the thing, is I just had to slide the bait over in front of them instead of bounce it.
Right.
You know, seems like when the water's shallow and the fish are spooky, if you bounce it, that's what everybody in the world's doing with a jig.
Right.
Is they're bouncing it. He said, but if you just slide it, you know, it seems to make a little bit of a difference. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to put the talon down. Look at my dog. Look at that crazy dog. Get him, Fred. Now, Fred, you get customers that all they want to do is just go red fishing?
Yes. Some people, that's entirely, you spend the full day sight fishing redfish.
That's sight fishing.
Yeah, it's usually they don't really like to just blind cast. They want to catch that. They want to see that fish take that bait.
Yeah, I like doing that myself.
They're carrying on.
Oh, it's a flounder! It's a flounder! The dirter! Look at that! That means, you know what this means? Fred, what this means is this will complete the slam of Mexico Beach and Port St. Joe. Completes it. Trout, redfish, pompano, and now the flounder. You get him?
Felt him.
First cast with the Trigger X. Barely hooked.
Trigger X does it again.
Barely hooked. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Stop it. Get him, Fred.
Skipjack, I believe.
Now look, he's white on this side and got all the sexy colors on this side. And 2 eyeballs. This eyeball at one time was over here. And as he grew, his body, as it grew wider, the eye stays in the same place as the body grows, and that's how the eye gets in the same side. Cool, huh?
Awesome.
Really cool. Man, what a cool fish. You know, traveling up to the Panhandle of Mexico Beach and seeing all those beautiful beaches is not something that I get to do every day, but catching all those fish with Captain Fred is certainly what made this a great sportsman's adventure.
Check out the Sportsman's Adventures website at sportsmansadventures.com. Coming up next week on Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy.
Oh, God. Dang it. You got him under the boat.
Why'd you put me over there?
Sportsman's Adventures was brought to you by La Jolla Resort, a place for families and fishermen. Costa Del Mar, see what's out there. Trigger X, Trigger the Bite. Ameritrail, custom trailer manufacturers. Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Suffix Lines, the world's most hardcore fishing line. And VMC, your expert in hooks.